A very good morning to you all, the participants of this particular workshop on DNA barcoding. In this particular lecture, we will be dealing with a particular organism, that is fishes. Already the speakers, they would have given information about what is DNA barcoding and how it is done and what kind of genes are associated with. I don't want to go into the detail of this particular aspect, but still in a brief way, I would like to explain what is DNA barcoding. It's a DNA barcoding is a tool, molecular tool, which is used to identify organism at species level. Again, here in most animal species, the mitochondrial cytochrome oxidase 1 gene is commonly used. The very concept of this DNA barcoding is the uniqueness of that particular gene we are amplifying for a particular species. In the sense, species A and species B in this particular slide, it will be having its own uniqueness of nucleotide arrangement for a particular gene what we have selected for this DNA barcoding study. Here you can able to see in species A and species B. In species B, starting from first to fifth nucleotide, some changes there. A is replaced with G. Again, from last, it is the third actually, it is T is replaced with A. This kind of information we will be analyzing after generating the sequence for a particular gene. Then we can come to a conclusion of the species status what we have taken for our study. Again, why it is required to identify a particular species accurately? When we talk about this species identification, that international convention on biodiversity plays an important role. Being our country, India is a signatory in that, we have the responsibility to catalog the biological resources, whatever it is available in the country, not only for sustainable utilization and also in the perspective of benefit sharing for the local community. Again, when you see here, so diversity could be studied at three different levels. The level of genes, and again species and ecosystem, because the ecosystem plays an important role in speciation and other aspects of biodiversity. Here we need to identify the particular species accurately so that we can go for a sustainable utilization, and also we can devise conservation plans for long-term utilization. Therefore, it is very much essential to identify species level before going for any activities related to conservation and sustainable utilization. When we see the importance of fish species in an organism level, we can able to see it constitute almost like 11% in terms of biodiversity, and also out of 34 biodiversity hotspots in the world, 4 hotspots are located in Indian waters, including Nicobar Islands. Again, in terms of endemism, fish diversity possesses a great endemic kind of a percentage. When we, for example, when you take 280 species which are confined to only freshwater systems of northeastern hilly regions as well as in the Western Ghats. Similarly, in the marine counterpart, a total of 170 species, mainly from island ecosystem from Lakshadweep and Andaman Nicobar Islands, are endemic to Indian waters. This is the concept of DNA barcoding. When we go for supermarket, we will be used to have product barcode for screening, then we will be able to get all the information related to the particular product. Similar way, the nucleotide arrangement, the 4 different nucleotides, it is arranged in a different way for different organisms. By studying that, we will be able to identify a particular species. So this is an internal ID system for all the animals. We have selected mitochondria because of varying reasons that would have been discussed earlier. We can select different genes of mitochondrial DNA, but mostly in animal species, cytochrome oxidase 1 is commonly used. In cytochrome oxidase 1 gene also, the entire gene it is not being used, only partial gene, the first 5 transmembrane domain, it is used for this DNA barcoding. That methodology it goes like this. The species of interest, the target species which we are want to check that species level identity, we need to collect tissue samples and we extract DNA, and we will go for PCR amplification of target gene with the universal marker primers are available. Then once it is PCR amplified, we will be sequencing it and we will be analyzing the sequence what is being generated using various software it is available. Again, when we want to do this kind of barcoding research, it is considering the huge biodiversity. A lot of consortium mode approach has been in place because in different locations of the different regions of the globe, people are working in the same kind of a group of organism. If it is in a consortium mode, it will be much more easier to transfer ideas and discuss, and we can be able to cover the entire biodiversity at the fastest time period. Here, this is International Barcode of Life project is a consortium. It works with different kind of regions and institutions put together, and they will be sharing the data, and we will be getting a holistic information on the biodiversity status of the particular organism under study. For a fish species, that fish bowl is there, fish barcode of life. It is almost like representing more than 30,000 odd marine, freshwater and different ecosystems, like including Ashwaran system. Some steering committees in place, and along with that, regional working groups, they will be working on a particular aspect pertains to the region specific. Similar way, you take any organisms, there will be a consortium, they will be working on this particular organism across the globe. Here for coral reef, separate kind of barcode of life consortium is there. For marine, especially for marine species, more than at least 50,000 barcode records for marine species. Even it was like 10 years before, now it would have been multiplied in a huge number. Again, for polar group of organisms also, we have consortium working on this particular. Like that, you can take any kind of organism, there will be a consortium, they will be working on DNA barcoding of that particular group of organism. Again, if you take even fish itself, for a very much important group of organisms like such as shark, they are in terms of conservation, it is very much gaining importance. For shark alone, there will be consortium, they will be working on this particular kind of thing. Along with, apart from the fish bowl, we have some specific groups also, like shark bowl or something like that. Here it contains all the shark species of marine and freshwater origin. Again, another important item I want to mention, like this is barcode of life database. Whatever the consortium that develop the barcodes information, that will be deposited here, so that it will be disseminated in a much more easier way. Here, apart from the sequence information of the particular gene, here the specimen metadata about the specimen collection details and what kind of outside specimen we are holding it, and what type of tissue it has been taken, and what the geographical coordinates of sample collection, including the photos of this specimens what we are using it. Everything it will be covered along with the sequence information. And also, like in the PCR protocol, what kind of PCR protocol they have used it, and what kind of primers it has been used to amplify the particular gene of interest, and for even DNA extraction also what kind of methodology it has been used. Everything it will be given or deposited in this barcode of life database. When we take a particular species information here, we will be getting the holistic kind of information. It contains not only sequence, apart from that, we will get all the supporting kind of information which is essential for having a holistic understanding. Yeah, this is a kind of network. Here I want to mention, like in fish species, ICAR, National Bureau of Fish Genetic Resources, which is a pioneer bureau in the country in cataloging and sustainable utilization of this aquatic or mainly fish biodiversity resources. They only initiated this barcoding of fish species in 2005. Now across a different part of the country, people are working on different kind of groups of fish species. Again, fishbowl current status in BFG Lucknow, it has been initiated. As I was mentioning, a lot of barcodes, it is around more than 3,000 barcodes now it has been generated for various fish species. For lobsters, like economically important groups also it has been covered separately, and also conservation point of view like Lakshmi branch and all, it has been covered separately, and also hotspot, biodiversity hotspot like Western Ghats and Northeast, it has been covered separately. Worth mentioning here is that the barcode of life, it covers like exotic species information also. That is very much essential in terms of biosecurity and other kind of perspective. Here when it comes to application, we can lot of applications are in place using this DNA barcode, and this is one of the first publication that has come out. And also when it comes to applications of DNA barcoding in the fisheries field, as you would have heard about IUU, illegal and unreported and unregulated fishery, that is going like without any record. It is worth huge kind of sum of money in terms of every year. When we say like more than 10 to 20 billion annually, it is getting lost due to this IUU kind of fishing. Again, when we talk about fisheries kind of thing, even when we are marketing, labeling also, mislabelings are possible. That also could be addressed using this DNA barcoding. Again, for species substitution also, like for high value fishes, the low value fishes will be substituted, considering both will be having the same kind of texture and other credentials. And again, for fishery management perspective, monitoring, control and surveillance is a key aspect. For having this monitoring mechanism in place, it is essential to have a species identity in proper way at initial level itself. For that particular aspect also, DNA barcoding should be of much more utility. Again, when it comes to the forensic applications, we can have this particular aspect. When it comes for application, this is one example, one case study that has been done at National Bureau of Fish Genetic Resources. This particular shark, which is depicted in the picture, it's a whale shark. It is protected under Wildlife Protection Act, and it comes under Schedule 1 species. What they do, like this kind of Schedule 1 species, it fetches a lot of money for bioprospecting kind of biomedical applications. What they do, they catch this particular shark inside the sea. When they come out, they will bring only meat portion. They will cut into the pieces, and they used to bring only the meat portion. That law enforcing authorities, they could not able to prove that this is from whale shark, even though they know like this is whale shark only. They have caught and they cut and they brought into pieces. Then that kind of scenario, they used to approach this molecular tool to justify or to validate this particular meat that has been caught, cheese, that is of whale shark only. Here, what it has been done, like barcoding using COI and also 6S rRNA and cytochrome B. For further validation, we used 3 genes, and it has been identified as that meat portion what was sent by the forest officials, that is of whale shark only. Again, this is another example of forensic applications. Here the fish is farm bred. It is much costly and also delicious kind of variety. Here what has happened, like in a hotel in Mumbai, they have served, they asked for this farm bred fish curry. When it was served, that particular person was having doubt like that is a farm bread. It is not, that was not farm bread, that was something else they are serving in the name of farm bread. Then the samples, it was seasoned, it was sent to us at NBFG. Then we have done a molecular analysis, and it was surprisingly it was turned out to be farm bred only. So these are some of the examples what I'm mentioning, like which way DNA barcoding it will be useful. Again, as was mentioning earlier, it is not only for accurate identification of full-grown adult fish, wherein we can able to identify using morphological parameters. But again, like to cheese adulteration, we can use this kind of thing to check the product also authenticity. And again, for larval stages, early larval stages, it is much more difficult to identify using only morphological parameters. That case also DNA barcoding would be much more useful. Again, adulteration was a kind of thing for high value fishes like shear fish, that is a marine fish that is of high value. They used to substitute that high value fish with low value, some freshwater counterpart, both having same texture and taste and everything. To check those kind of adulteration also we can use the DNA barcoding. Again, these are some of products, even dried also we can try, we can standardize the DNA isolation technology. Even fried items also we can check it, fish curry and everything we can able to authenticate using DNA barcoding. Again, identification of immature specimens, what was mentioning in the previous slide. Here, this is one example, like, when we look into this, all five pictures, it used to seem like, it is of different kind of species, but this is a particular Channa diplacrome, that marl species. This all five of different life stages. These kind of studies also we can able to do using a DNA barcoding. Again, for resolving taxonomic ambiguity also the DNA barcoding is useful. Here this particular case, this fish is considered, it was considered as a dark kudri, and it was revalidated as a tall Malabar gas. Here it is again 4 genes were used, like 5 genes instead. 4 mitochondrial genes, COA16S, 12S rRNA and cytochrome B, and also a nuclear counterpart reactive was used to revalidate this particular species. Again, here similar kind of taxonomic ambiguity resolving this particular 2 fish species. What is in picture? They are looking similar when it goes for morphological parameters, but using the COA and the 16S rRNA gene, it could be differentiated as a Pistolepis marginata and a Pistolepis faciata. These kind of things also, it is a direct application of DNA barcoding. Again, high value group of organisms like lobsters and all, it has been some study, it has been carried out at NPFGR to develop species-specific molecular signatures, so that in later stages it could be useful for identification purposes. Here also, like, it has been 3 mitochondrial genes were used, 16S rRNA, 12S and COAI, and this kind of what are the listed, that lobsters, that barcodes were generated. Again, another example of application of DNA barcoding. Here this is like, like in Kerala, the Western Ghats rivers, earlier it was some kind of apprehensions were there, like, like prana, it has been inundated into the water bodies of Western Ghats. Then it was checked, like, using condition itself, we could able to confirm like that was only Paku, that was not piranha. Again, molecular tools also were used to confirm the identification that was not a piranha, that is highly carnivore kind of fish species. It was a Paku only. Again, for biosecurity applications, when you are importing the things or when you are exporting or whatever, those kind of scenario also we can able to use this barcode. Here, these 2 A and B species, they were looking similar morphologically, but they are genetically, they are distinct. Here also similar kind of COI has been used to identify this particular species were different in nature. Again, here we can use, like, some synonymous, even validation of the particular fishes, or even to new species identification also. We can do it using morphological parameters, but molecular tool also effectively used, and also now they are asking for molecular tools for submission of any manuscript on new record or new species, those concepts. Here some of the examples I will go through, you can go through. These are the examples of new species in different group of fish species. This is another spirana. Here you can able to see KTB distance is 5.5%. Here that is a genetic divergence or genetic distance we should call it. When that is a cutoff values were there for different organisms. For fish species it is 2%. If it is exceeding 2%, that will be considered as a different species. But here you can able to very well see like it is more than 5.5% when compared to the nearby or neighbor or closely related fish species. Here another group of organism, fish species. Here also it has been new species, it has been recorded. Here similar kind of thing. Again some more. Some of the group of generic species belonging to particular genus, there were a lot of confusion in species complex. Even cryptic speciations were observed, like, when we check it up, it would have been 4 or 5 species. But when we go into the detail using morphological and molecular means, that case we will be able to come up with lot of new species which were not reported earlier. This is one particular group, like genus Arida. This particular study has been carried out. This is again the new species. Here, when it comes to issues and challenges of DNA barcoding, always it is people used to think like researchers, DNA barcoding is a substitute for traditional taxonomies. But actually speaking, we should start with traditional morphological parameters. And when it comes for any ambiguity kind of scenario, then only we can go for molecular tool like DNA barcoding to support you to traditional taxonomy feature. Again, networking of people, because in a particular group of people are in a particular institute, they cannot complete the DNA barcoding of the entire species in that particular group. We have to have a network for completing the task. And again, here issue is the lack of qualified taxonomists. We should develop expertise in traditional taxonomic features. And again, we need to keep voucher specimens. What are the species that will be barcoded? We should maintain the voucher specimens in formalin to preserve if in case of any issue in later stage we can come back and check. When tissues also, which tissue we are using it for DNA barcoding, that also can be preserved in ethanol. Again, fungi and card coders and all some issues of associated organisms, it is there. In those cases, we can use some alternate other genes like ITS we can effectively use. Even plants also, chloroplast DNA, RBCL or MATK, 2 genes are used commonly for barcoding. Even we can able to look into this kind of level of genetic divergence. It varies for different groups based on that variation, how fast it evolves in a particular group of organism. We can go either for we have to finalize, like we have to fix it like which gene we can go for interspecific and which gene could be used for intraspecific level of variation. This is a kind of thing. Initially it was discussed. It is a supportive kind of mechanism for traditional taxonomy. And also, like more than species level, also we can have this resolution of generic kind of how much it is the genetic divergence between the different genera, and also we can that way we can look into the evolutionary relationship of all the fish species in a particular order or even particular family kind of thing. And also it is not a oversimplified kind of format in case of taxonomy. It is only supportive mechanism. It is not a replacement for a traditional taxonomy. It is only supportive kind of thing. And further we can develop some kind of faster methods like DNA chip or something using these genes what we are developing to check the group of species at a particular point of time, which much more faster and accurate. Yeah, these are the things are there in place for DNA barcoding. Thank you. I would like to thank you all the participants for patiently listening. And if you have any queries, you can very well contact me at Kathir ARS, KATHIRARS @gmail.com. I repeat, KATHIRARS @gmail.com. Thank you very much.